bucks. 20 bucks. Never mind for 20 bucks. Hi guys, it's Jabor. It's one of my favourites. I love this. Bye. 20 bucks. Hi, I'm Maggie and welcome into my kitchen. Mrs. Calabash cooks. Now, today I got the craving for some hot food, but I didn't want to overheat the kitchen. So it's things that can be cooked quickly without overheating the kitchen. And so we're going to make a chicken fricassee. And with this, you can, it's actually using chicken which has been cooked. You could make a pork fricassee, a veal fricassee, but the meat has been cooked beforehand. So there's not a lot of cooking, not a lot of steam in the kitchen. And we're going to team that with a Japanese sesame spinach. So again, very fast, not a lot of cooking, and with couscous. Now couscous is virtually instant food. You boil up your liquid, be it stock or water, add your grain, let it sit there for 5 to 10 minutes, and it's cooked. So what do we make first? Let's start with the chicken fricassee. Now, in here, let's have a look. I've got the onions. What can I do with the top? There we are. Now you see, I've got the onions in there, and I have just sauteed them in a little butter until they become transparent. You don't need to see me do that. So we're just going to turn that up like that to get it warm. And you see, I've got my list here, and you can see I've ticked everything off. So we've got, I just want to bring those up to heat. And I've got some plain flour here. And actually, the word fricassee means cooked in a white sauce. And very often for fricassee, it is meat that has been cooked previously. I've got this in the fridge, my chicken. There, I've got the chicken in the fridge, and actually I cooked the chicken and I had some stock, so I'm using the stock from the chicken for the fricassee to make the sauce. And the nice thing about this is, okay, I had some chicken, I cooked some chicken breasts yesterday for this, but if you don't want any heat in the kitchen and you don't want to do that, get a rotisserie chicken, slice them off. If you've got any left over, slice it off and make a chicken fricassee. And it's as quick and as easy as that. Now I'm going to add the flour. I want to make, that's it, I just want to make the roux. That looks a little bit dry, so actually I've got butter in there. I'm just going to add a drop of oil. I just want to make it, there we are, that's better. It just looks a little bit dry, like that. And the secret, there's a trick with cooking with butter, because it can get brown very, very easily. Add a drop of oil to it and it stops it burning. Now we're going to make a sauce. Now there's one of the herbs, let's just fish it out, that I used for cooking the chicken. There we are, we don't want that in. We just need to make this. Now, if it's gone a little bit lumpy like that, don't panic. Just get a whisk whisk it round, and it depends on the flour that you're using. As I said before, I've used all-purpose flour for this, and it is an English recipe, so I might need to add a drop more liquid because the flour in England isn't quite so hard as this, and it doesn't take as much liquid. So I can afford actually to add a drop of water to that because it was very strong stock. But the sauce does, for a fricassee, you do need quite a nice thick sauce. And we're going to taste this. I've not put any seasoning because that the stock I was using was quite highly seasoned because I wanted the chicken to be nicely flavoured. There we are. And we're going to add some sour cream to that and the chicken. And that is virtually all there is to making a chicken fricassee. There we are. Let's just whisk that around. There we are, you see, we've done that. We've put the stock in. Now we're going to add the chicken and the sour cream. I just sliced the chicken, and a fairly thick slice to the chicken. And we've still got that on a high heat because we want to, the chicken's been cooked once, and we want to bring it up to temperature quickly so that any bacteria is killed. We don't want to leave it in a tepid temperature, not to begin with. Bring it up to a high heat quickly. Stir the sour cream in. Now we're going to taste that at this stage. Ooh. That will cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Where's my spoons? It's got a lovely creamy flavour, but, there is a but. It does need a little bit more seasoning. A few mushrooms in there, if you like, would be rather nice. I want to taste that again. Perfect. I did, when I was cooking the chicken, I did add a drop of white wine. That adds a nice flavour to it. So we're going to move that onto the back burner. Let's bring this forward. Just move that onto the back burner, like so. There we are. And just let that cook for a few minutes. And the garnish for this is toasted almonds. So we're going to dry roast them. So yeah, just make sure your pan is actually hot before you do this. I'm going to use this twice because I need to do it for the sesame seeds. You can't take your eyes off these because I've had many burnt almonds or burnt nuts and had to start again. So it is just a question of being a little bit patient. And the reason why we toast them or roast them is to bring out the flavour. It adds a much nicer flavour. I hope that everybody's been enjoying this this nice weather. We've had a few thunderstorms actually, and the sun is out at the moment. I think the humidity has finally gone down a little bit. It's been incredible, very, very humid, and but the gardens liked it. And the tomatoes, well, I'll show you. That's today's picking. I'm having to pick them a little bit underripe because somebody or something is getting to the ripe tomatoes and eating them before I can pick them. So I'm not one to share my tomatoes. I like my tomatoes. You see how the nuts are just turning? Look, they're just turning that little bit brown. Just, there we are, that will do it. Now we'll keep those on one side and we'll just use them as a garnish for the top. I can turn that up just a little bit more. This burner at the back here is a very slow burner, which is excellent for this type of dish. I just want to turn that down a little bit. There we are. Now, the next thing we're going to make is the couscous. This is hot because I did actually boil the liquid, the stock. I'm using stock again. Now for couscous you can use stock or you can use water. And just let me put it on. We have to keep an eye on it because it boiled over actually. Let me show you the couscous. Now, these are two different couscous. And actually, the couscous that we use is instant couscous. That's just a normal couscous, and that's a whole wheat couscous. And if you use a whole wheat couscous, you're going to have to use just a little, a drop more water. And I've got something to tell you about couscous, because when we lived in France, excuse me, let me go and wash my hands. Put that down. When we lived in France, we used to have couscous parties. And you always had a base of a salad for a couscous. The couscous was the base of the salad, and you could put mayonnaise with it, soy sauce with it, add all sorts of things to it. And there was couscous restaurants. And these were really, really economical to go to, and they're fantastic. And you get the couscous, which is actually drum wheat, and then or with a stew with spicy sausage and chicken and bits of meat, and it's all very, very spicy. And as I say, they were really, really economical. And you used to have a couscous pot. So this it's like a steamer. So the base of it, you'd put your stew in, whatever you're cooking, your little bits of chicken and pork and sausage, whatever you're using. It was mainly chicken, and I've got a feeling sometimes there was some shrimp in there. And then that you're cooking your ingredients in there, and on the top you've got your couscous, and it's steaming with whilst it's cooking, and you're getting all the flavours of the stew underneath. And it's really it's a North African dish, and it's made from drum wheat semolina. And back in the day, and they probably still do it in the village, in some of the villages, I would be sitting out in the sun, because I'm of the older generation, I would put it that way, and it was our job to roll the little balls of semolina, and then sprinkle it with flour and put it out to dry. And that was always the grandmother's job, was to make the couscous. and it's made from the hard drum wheat, and because it's dried, I think it's what now they call a pearl couscous. You have to add some water to it, and it takes longer to cook, because this is the instant couscous. I've not used the pearl couscous. In fact, I only found some the other day, but I went online to have a look for you this morning, and as I say, this is the instant couscous, and you can actually buy it boxed, and they'll have different flavours. Sometimes they'll have spice couscous, garlic couscous, but or you can buy it loose in some of the stores, and that's how I buy it. I have, at this time of the year, I have a container of couscous made up in the fridge, and then when I have lunch, which is probably tomato cheese, I just have some couscous with it. Sometimes I make it spicy, sometimes I add some mayonnaise with it, but it's just instant food. It's incredible, but it is actually the same as pasta. So it's not a grain, it's a drum wheat. So that's what it talked about, couscous. So we're just going to bring the liquid up to the boil for the couscous. I'm just seeing here if I've got the amounts that we use. No. The I think it's called a coussière, and that is the pot that they use. Excuse my French, even though I lived in France, my accent was never any good. No. So we've just brought this to the boil. Couscous. I'm not going to add any salt to this until I've tasted it, because that stock was quite salty. I'm going to add the couscous to it. Switch off the heat. Just stir it around. There we are. Just stir it around like that, and you'll see in there, because I'm using the stock, I've got little bits of garlic in there, and so we're just going to put that on one side and let it sit, and that's the couscous made. So you see, it is really instant food, and it really is quite economical. Now, I want just to wipe out this pan, and I'm going to just toast some sesame seeds. Actually, there we are. There's my pan. I'll cook the spinach. So in here, I've got a drop of water. Now, I wanted to cook fresh spinach with you today. I went shopping twice this week, and I couldn't get any fresh spinach. So I got some frozen spinach. Now, I've never seen anything like this before, so fingers crossed it's going to work. It's an experiment. We've got little balls of spinach like that, and on the packet it says 2 tablespoons full of water to 6 of these balls. So we're going to put that in there, and you can cook this from frozen according to the packet, and whilst that's coming up to the boil, they suggest that you break down the spinach. Now, if we're doing fresh spinach, I would have washed it, shaken it dry, and just put it in the pan, and just taken off the excess water, put it in the pan, and let the leaves wilt. I couldn't believe that I couldn't buy fresh spinach. They did have some in a packet, but it was all slimy. It was disgusting. So I thought, well, we'll try this. So it's nice to do some experimental work. So we'll see how it works. I could have got a packet of chopped spinach, but there wasn't enough in there. This was a larger amount of spinach. And on the top of this, we're going to put the sesame seeds. We're going to make a paste, and then we're going to put. We've got sesame seeds and a little sugar and some soy sauce, and we're going to make a paste out of that and put it on the top of the spinach. So everything is going to be very, very quick to make. You're not going to get the kitchen's not going to get overheated. And I would like to say, if my daughter's watching in England, which she might not be, we've had a bit of a up and down week. Lou moved from Lancashire to Lincolnshire, moved counties, moved house. She still left a horse in Lancashire, and within 12 hours a partner was rushed into hospital in Lincoln with a ruptured bowel, stomach problems and lung problems, and he's been in ICU ever since. But good news is, I've just had a message from her. Yay, it's out. He's out of ICU. So hopefully he's on the mend, and all kudos to my granddaughter. She's living near Lou's new house, so she wouldn't let Lou go back to an empty house. Her and her husband's been looking after her, so thanks, Em. Means a lot. So it's been a up and down week, you know. But there we are. I just want to make sure that that's okay. We can let that cook for a minute or two, and whilst that's cooking, I'll have to go on this burner at the back here just to toast the sesame seeds. Let the pan get hot. Now you can get black sesame seeds. These are white sesame seeds. I don't know what the difference in flavour is, but I always keep these in, and I make my own bread, and I put some sesame seeds on the top of the bread. Now, a word of warning. I had a friend who was terribly allergic to sesame seeds, and she couldn't even eat a grate or anything that had been on a plate with sesame seeds. She was straight into emergency. So if you're serving this for guests, just check with them before you serve this dish that they're not allergic to sesame seeds, because it was really, really bad for Laurie. There we are, that's nice and warm. And we just need to toast them just a little bit, not a lot. And again, it's to bring out the flavour. You know, when we lived in France, I used to love to go to the couscous restaurants, because there'd be all the nice vegetables in there and in the stew. And there really wasn't that much meat, but little bits of chicken, little knobbly bits of chicken would be in there, or there would be a seafood couscous. And I thought, when we first went, I was invited to a couscous party, and I thought, what's a couscous party? Because I don't think I'd ever had couscous before I went to France, but it's a staple in summer. Where we do a potato salad, there's a couscous salad, and we put peas in it. Sometimes it would be a couscous base, and it would be peas with mint. anything that you've got in the garden. There you are. You see, it's just nicely toasted. Can you see? So I'm going to put them in here for the simple reason that I'm going to make a mess if I try to get it into a smaller container. I'm still making a mess. There we are. So now we're going to go back to the board. I'm going to keep that on low. Let me just get rid of some of these so they don't go all over the floor. There we are. So there we are. We've got that. And so we're going to go, this is going to make a noise. I might not put all this sugar in because I'm not very, with being diabetic, I'm not that good with sugar. So I've got we want to grind, yeah, that's better. We want to grind the sesame seeds and the sugar together. There we are. Now you see, I've got an old coffee grinder here, which is my spice grinder. Just put up with the noise. Sing to yourselves. $20. It's complaining. There we are. Now I don't want to add any liquid into there. They don't like liquid very much added to it. You could do this with a pestle and mortar, but I take the easy way out. There we are. So you see you've got a nice powder. And the soy sauce, again, soy sauce. This is a traditional sauce, and this has got gluten in it. So if I do have some gluten-free, and so if I have anybody come in that has a gluten intolerance, I use my other sauce. We just want to mix this together, like that. It just adds a little bit of flavour, different flavour to the spinach. There we go. So now I'm going to drain the spinach. There won't be much liquid left in there. That's cooked. Let me just taste that. In fact, there's no liquid left. I will just strain it. I'm going to add just a little seasoning. Because spinach is nice, but it can be a little bit bland. Oh well. And it's full of goodness. Now, just a little bit more. A touch more. A soupçon more. There we are. That will do it. Yes. Bear with me whilst I just drain this. The handles are hot. There we go. Yeah. I need a trivet. There, we just need to drain really, really well. push out any liquid, like that. We don't want soggy spinach. Put it over there, and I'm going to put the spinach in here, and then we can toss it in the mixture. So you see, it goes down such a lot. You need a big pan to start cooking with, and you end up with very, very little. I'm going to put that back over there. That will be cooked. And so now we're just going to mix that. Let's just clear the board and we'll taste it again. It makes a nice creamy spinach. That is rather nice. I would add a little more salt, but I do know that I probably tend to over salt a little bit, so I'm going to put back. People can always add a little more salt if they want it. So that's the spinach. So you see, it's very quick and easy to do. You're not overheating the kitchen. There we are. Let's have a look at the chicken. Oh yes, that's good. Move that. I want to look at the couscous now. There we are. And you can see, and what you see how it's absorbed all the liquid, and it doesn't seem to matter how much liquid you put in. You could have a drop more liquid to this if you like. If you're making a salad, then this is the consistency. I like this consistency for a vegetable. Some people like it to be just a little less solid. But if you're making a salad, this is the consistency. But just fluff it up with a fork. And again, we have to test to see if it needs I'm going to add just a little bit more seasoning to that. But the stock I was using was really quite strong. It was a homemade stock, and it was really quite a strong stock. That's good. So now we have the couscous, and we've got the spinach, and now we're going to bring on the fricassee of chicken. So we need the trivet. Just going to stir it up like that. And actually, what I'm going to do is just put a little couscous in the bottom here, and then put my fricassee of chicken over the top. A little couscous. Boom, 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 boom. And that, the couscous will absorb the nice juice from the chicken. The reason why I'm not doing too much is fussy finickety pants over there will want buttered noodles to go with the chicken. So the chicken can be served with couscous, noodles or rice, or even potatoes. We don't want to waste any, so let's just give it a scrape around, and there's some more in the bottom there. Whoops. There we are. We have our toasted almonds to go on the top. And so that adds a nice bit of crunch to it. Put some in that corner, and it needs a little bit of greenery. I've got mint and tarragon and thyme and some nasturtiums here, so let's brighten it up a little bit. Oh, and some marigolds. Let's put a marigold on either side. You see, there's two colours of marigold. There's a deep one, and there we are. Oh, it seems as though I've just got this, I picked up the two colours, just the same colour. And I think a little bit of tarragon there, and maybe I had, there we are, I had some rosemary. I think chicken and rosemary always go together. So we have that, and serve it on a dish with your nice spinach. We'll just put it on a, we'll just show you what it can look like. So again, some couscous, and we'll put some spinach, little spinach, so you've got the nice dark spinach against the chicken, and a little chicken to go over the top. Make sure you get some nice pieces of chicken in there. And what have we got? We've got a little bit more rosemary. So that is the chicken fricassee. So it's not caused such a big heat in the kitchen, and it makes a nice supper, nice and light at this time of the year. Oh, it's pouring with rain now. Well, the idea of eating out on the in the gazebo has now gone. So guess what? We'll be eating inside tonight. Next week, I'm still thinking that it could be quite warm. So I've got it written down. Next week, I'm thinking, we've got so many tomatoes, you see. This is just today's haul. That's today's haul. We had as many as that yesterday, so I'm going crazy on tomato recipes. And why not put a tomato or two on there? We've got plenty. And so I was thinking, right, I don't want to waste them, because if I don't pick them before they get, if I leave them to get really, really ripe on the vine, something's getting to them before I am, and they take a bite out and then just leave the tomato. So I'm going to make a tomato, mozzarella and couscous salad. So that's make it, it's nice and crunchy. And we're going to cook a lemon buttered haddock with that. So again, you've got something nice and hot to eat with something cold, without spending too much time in the kitchen and overheating the kitchen and you. So have a really good weekend and a good week, and we'll see if Jabor's still there. So I'm going to press the button. Yay! So I say goodbye, and thank you very much for watching Mrs. Calabash. Bye. Playing.